What if one football club kept getting so close to glory, only to watch everything fall apart at the worst possible moment? Championships slipped away. Finals were lost. Dreams collapsed. And just when it looked like their luck had finally changed, something else went wrong. Some fans call it bad luck. Others call it a curse. But one question remains. Is this the most cursed football club ever? Welcome back to Football Frontier. Football history is filled with legendary clubs. Clubs that have won everything. Clubs that dominate their leagues. Clubs that seem destined for greatness. But then, there are clubs that seem to have a completely different relationship with success. They can build incredible teams. They can reach huge finals. They can dominate important matches. But somehow, the trophy always seems to slip away. And that's where this story begins. Imagine supporting a club for decades. You watch generation after generation of players arrive. You dream about European glory. You dream about championship parades. You believe that this could finally be the year. And then, the final arrives. Everything is going perfectly. Until one moment changes everything. A missed chance. A mistake. A penalty. A goalkeeper making an unbelievable save. Sometimes, even the smallest moment can destroy an entire season. And the strangest part? It doesn't happen just once. It happens again. And again. And again. That's when supporters start asking a question that has followed some clubs for generations. Are they cursed? Of course. There is no scientific proof that a football club can actually be cursed. Football isn't controlled by supernatural forces. It's controlled by players, managers, injuries, decisions, tactics. And sometimes, pure luck. But football fans don't always think logically. Because when the same type of heartbreak keeps happening, it starts to feel impossible. One of the biggest examples is AS Roma. Roma has a massive fan base, a proud history, legendary players, and moments of incredible football. But European success has often remained painfully difficult. They've experienced heartbreaking defeats on the biggest stages. And every time supporters believe the club is ready to take the next step, something seems to stand in the way. Then there is another famous example. Tottenham Hotspur. For years, Tottenham built talented squads capable of competing with Europe's best. They reached the Champions League final in 2019. For many supporters, this was the moment. The opportunity to finally lift Europe's biggest club trophy. But the final didn't go their way. One of the biggest nights in the club's modern history ended in heartbreak. And that's the cruel thing about football. Sometimes, you don't lose because you're terrible. You lose because your opponent is better for just 90 minutes. Or because one moment goes against you. Or because the ball hits the post. Or because a goalkeeper makes the save of his life. That's why calling a club cursed can be misleading. Behind every heartbreaking story, there is usually a real football explanation. Poor recruitment. Bad timing. Injuries. Managerial changes. Pressure. Financial problems. Or simply facing a better team. But there's another reason the idea of a curse becomes so powerful. Expectation. Once a club develops a reputation for failure, every new failure becomes part of the story. A missed penalty isn't just a missed penalty anymore. Fans remember the previous one. A lost final isn't just another defeat. It's another chapter. And suddenly, the history becomes part of the pressure. Players know it. Fans know it. The media knows it. And that pressure can become its own opponent. That's the psychological side of football curses. The more you believe something will go wrong, the more terrifying every mistake becomes. But here's the most interesting part. Football curses can disappear. One trophy can change everything. One generation can rewrite decades of history. One unforgettable victory can turn a cursed club into a club of destiny. That's why these stories are so fascinating. Because football history is never finished. A club that suffers for 20 years can become a champion tomorrow. A team that loses 5 finals can win the 6th. A player who misses the decisive penalty can become the hero years later. Football always gives you another chance. And maybe that's the real lesson behind the so-called cursed clubs. There may be no curse. There may only be history, pressure, and the unbelievable randomness of football. Because when millions of people care about the same club, every heartbreak feels bigger. Every defeat becomes unforgettable. And every victory becomes legendary. So, which football club deserves the title of the most cursed club ever? Is it a club that keeps losing finals? A club that constantly misses out on trophies? Or a team whose fans have suffered decades of unbelievable heartbreak? Maybe the curse isn't real. Maybe it's just football. And perhaps that's even more terrifying. Because if there is no curse, there is no one to blame. Just 90 minutes. One ball. One decision. One moment. That can change everything. Now tell us your opinion. Which football club do you think is the most cursed in history? Drop the name in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more football videos, legendary stories, football history, and everything football. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the next video.